They made the world believe in fairy tales. Behind the velvet curtains of Golden Age Hollywood, the studios manufactured perfection. Every smile was scripted, every scandal buried. The system demanded spotless reputations, marketable fantasies that could never crack, never age, never reveal the human beings trapped inside the celluloid. Morality clauses hung over contracts like guillotines. One misstep, one whispered rumor, and careers worth millions could vanish overnight. The gossip columnists, Hedda Hopper, Luella Parsons, wielded power that rivaled studio heads. They could destroy a star with a single line of print. Catholic values shaped America's definition of decency, and Hollywood knew it. Unwed mothers were ruined women. Illegitimate children were shameful secrets. Affairs were career suicide. So the studios built machinery to hide the truth. PR fixers who made pregnancies disappear, press agents who invented adoption stories, lawyers who sealed birth certificates. Behind the glamour, some of Hollywood's brightest lights spent their lives hiding the most human truth of all, their own children. This is not a story of cruelty, though cruelty appears. It is a story of survival inside a system that punished authenticity. Fame was both spotlight and prison, and sometimes to stay in the light, stars had to cast their own flesh and blood into shadow. What follows are 9 real stories, verified through biographies, legal records, and the testimony of the children themselves. Some secrets were confirmed only after death. Others remain disputed, buried beneath decades of studio spin. But each reveals the same dark bargain. In Hollywood's golden era, image mattered more than intimacy. Stardom demanded silence. These are the sons and daughters who lived in the shadows of silver screens, ghosts of fame that never asked to be born. Clark Gable, the king who never claimed his princess. He was Rhett Butler. He was the king, but to one daughter, he was only silence. Clark Gable spent his entire life, from 1935 until his death in 1960, never publicly acknowledging Judy Lewis. The studio machinery that concealed her birth also protected his image. His marriage to Carole Lombard was one of Hollywood's great love stories. No whisper of an illegitimate daughter could tarnish that legend. Even after Lombard's death in a 1942 plane crash, Gable remained silent. Biographers suggest he carried guilt, that he knew who Judy was, saw her at industry events, watched her grow up from a careful distance. Some claim he wanted to acknowledge her, but feared the scandal would destroy Young. Others believe he simply chose self-preservation. The king protected his throne. Gable publicly acknowledged only one child, John Clark Gable, born in March 1961, 4 months after his death. The son he never met became his only official heir. Judy remained unmentioned in his estate, erased from his will as she had been erased from his public life. The cruelty was not malicious, it was structural. Gable operated within a system where image management was survival. He had been shaped by studios that controlled every aspect of his persona. To acknowledge Judy would have been to admit imperfection, and Rhett Butler was not allowed imperfections. He died never saying her name in public. The daughter carried his face. He carried the silence. Some inheritances are made of absence. Charlie Chaplin, The Little Tramp, and the Paternity Trial. Chaplin denies paternity, blood tests excluded. Jury finds him liable anyway. The headlines screamed scandal. In 1943, Charlie Chaplin, beloved clown, cinematic genius, was accused by actress Joan Barry of fathering her child, Carol, and Barry had been his protege. The affair was messy, the breakup bitter. She claimed he was the father. He denied it. Blood tests excluded Chaplin as the biological father. Science spoke clearly, but California law at the time barred blood test evidence in paternity cases. The jury, swayed by Barry's testimony and Chaplin's tarnished reputation, ruled against him. He was legally declared the father and ordered to pay child support for a child biology confirmed was not his. The case became a spectacle. Chaplin had already been tried under the Mann Act for allegedly transporting Barry across state lines for immoral purposes. He was acquitted, but the damage was done. The paternity verdict compounded his public humiliation. The press painted him as a libertine, a foreign-born degenerate, corrupting American womanhood. His films were boycotted. His reputation, once untouchable, began to fracture. Carol and Barry grew up in the shadow of this spectacle. Legally Chaplin's daughter, biologically a stranger's child, publicly the proof of his supposed sins. Chaplin paid support, but never claimed her. He never spoke of her with affection. She was to him a legal obligation imposed by a system that ignored science in favor of scandal. The case helped push Chaplin out of America. In 1952, while traveling abroad, his re-entry permit was revoked. He settled in Switzerland, far from Hollywood's machinery of shame. Carol and remained behind, a daughter in name only, a casualty of courtrooms and tabloids. Sometimes the law creates fathers, but it cannot create love. Ingrid Bergman, the star Hollywood tried to destroy. A woman in love became a woman exiled. In 1949, Ingrid Bergman, luminous, Oscar-winning, adored, met Italian director Roberto Rossellini while filming Stromboli. She fell in love. She was still married. She became pregnant, and Hollywood turned on her with a fury reserved for women who dared step outside the prescribed narrative. In 1950, Senator Edwin C. Johnson denounced Bergman on the floor of the United States Senate, calling her a powerful influence for evil. She was not merely shamed, she was condemned by the American government itself. Her films were pulled from theaters. Her name became synonymous with moral decay. She was effectively exiled from Hollywood. The child Robertino, born February 2, 1950, was not hidden by Bergman. She loved him openly, but Hollywood's machinery worked to erase her for daring to have him. The industry that had made her a star now demanded her destruction. The message was clear: motherhood outside marriage, even for a woman of talent and fame, was unforgivable. Bergman and Rossellini married, had twin daughters, and built a life in Europe. She did not return to American cinema until 1956, when she starred in Anastasia, a role that earned her a second Academy Award. The industry forgave her only after proving she could still generate profit. Redemption came not from repentance, but from box office receipts. This is not a story of a mother ashamed of her child. It is a story of an industry that weaponized shame against a woman who refused to hide her humanity. Bergman bore the cost, but she did not bend. Robertino grew up knowing his mother chose truth over career and that Hollywood punished her for it. She lost the spotlight, but she kept her son. William Randolph Hearst and Marion Davies, the niece who claimed to be a daughter. For decades, she was introduced as the niece. Then, on her deathbed, she rewrote the story. Patricia Van Cleve Lake lived 72 years as the niece of actress Marion Davies, the longtime mistress of newspaper magnate William Randolph Hearst. Davies never married Hearst. He remained wed to his estranged wife until his death in 1951. But rumors persisted that Patricia was their secret daughter, concealed to protect both Davies' career and Hearst's already scandalous reputation. In 1993, when Patricia's death notice appeared, it named her as the daughter of Hearst and Davies. The claim exploded into tabloid headlines. Relatives came forward to corroborate the story. Journalists revisited decades of whispers. But no legal proof surfaced, no birth certificate amendment, no DNA test, no official acknowledgement from the Hearst estate. Hearst wielded the most powerful press empire in America. If Patricia was his daughter, he had the machinery to bury the truth, and he did. Davies' career depended on respectability. An illegitimate child would have shattered the illusion. So Patricia was raised in plain sight, close enough to the spotlight to feel its warmth, but never allowed to step fully into it. Whether Patricia's deathbed claim was truth or longing remains unresolved. What is undeniable is that she lived her entire life in the architecture of secrecy, a woman shaped by what could not be spoken, by a parentage that powerful men and studio fixers ensured would never be confirmed. She was either a daughter denied or a niece who wanted to belong. In Hollywood's golden age, both outcomes were forms of erasure. Some secrets die with their keepers. Others outlive them, still unproven. Errol Flynn, the swashbuckler who couldn't stay. He fought on screen. Off screen he ran. Errol Flynn, dashing, reckless, magnetic, built a career playing heroes. But his personal life was a chaos of affairs, legal battles, and paternity suits. In 1943, amid accusations of statutory rape that would tarnish his image forever, Flynn was also named in a paternity suit by a woman named Shirley Hassall. He denied it. The case dragged through courts for years before being dismissed in 1951. Reports suggest Flynn once paid $2,000 early in the case to avoid publicity, not an admission of guilt, but an acknowledgement that scandal itself could destroy him. The dismissal cleared him legally, but the headlines remained. His name became synonymous with libertine excess, a warning about the dangers of unchecked male stardom. Flynn had other children, some acknowledged, some rumored. One daughter reportedly met him only once before his death, in 1959. She grew up knowing his face from movie posters, but not from memory. He was a father in title only, a ghost who signed checks but never stayed for dinner. This was not unique to Flynn. Hollywood in the 1940s operated on a code that allowed powerful men to father children without consequence, while women who bore those children faced ruin. Flynn's charm insulated him from the worst. His career survived the scandals, but his children lived with the absence. He died in Vancouver, far from Hollywood, at 50. His legacy was swashbuckling films and cautionary headlines. His daughter carried a different legacy, the knowledge that fame had been more important to him than fatherhood. He played the hero 1,000 times, but heroism requires presence. Anthony Quinn, the man with 12 children. He acknowledged them all, but only after the world already knew. Anthony Quinn fathered 12 children across 5 decades. Some were born within his marriages. Others were not. In the 1970s, while married to costume designer Jolanda Adalori, Quinn had 2 sons, Sean, 1973, and Alexander, 1976, with Friedel Dunbar. Later, he fathered additional children with Catherine Benvin. He eventually acknowledged all of them, but the initial silence and secrecy followed Hollywood's familiar script. Quinn's approach was quieter than some, but no less shaped by the industry's demands. Extramarital children, even in the 1970s, could tarnish an image. Quinn was a working actor, not a megastar. His box office value depended on maintaining respectability, so the births were handled discreetly. Press agents managed the narratives. The children existed, but their existence was not advertised. Over time, Quinn became more open. He spoke about his large family, framed himself as a man who embraced life fully. But the children born in secrecy had already experienced what it meant to be hidden, to know your father loved you, but only once the cameras were off and the contracts were safe. This is a story not of shame, but of calculation. Quinn was not cruel. He was practical. And Hollywood had taught him that fatherhood, like every other aspect of life, was something to be managed, timed, revealed only when it served the image. 12 children, all acknowledged, but some had to wait longer to be claimed. John Huston, the director and the secret son. He made masterpieces. He also made a family the industry preferred not to see. In 1962, while married to his 4th wife Enrica "Ricky" Soma, director John Huston fathered a son with actress Zoe Salas. The boy, Danny Huston, was born into Hollywood royalty. His father, an Oscar-winning legend, his existence a complication the industry handled with discretion. Danny's birth was known within the industry, but rarely discussed publicly. Huston was powerful enough that the press did not pry. He acknowledged Danny supported him and eventually brought him into the film world. But for years, the relationship was conducted quietly, away from the glare that could have damaged Huston's marriage and reputation. This is a different kind of concealment, not erasure, but careful management. Huston did not deny his son. He simply navigated the social architecture that made out-of-wedlock children liabilities. Danny grew up knowing his father, but also knowing that his presence had to be negotiated, softened, explained away. By the time Danny entered the film industry himself, becoming a respected actor and director, the stigma had faded. But his childhood had been shaped by the remnants of an era when powerful men could father children discreetly, and Hollywood's press machinery ensured those children remained footnotes rather than headlines. He was not hidden, but he was held at a careful distance from the light. Joan Crawford, the image, and the children who broke it. Mommie Dearest. 2 words that shattered one of Hollywood's most carefully constructed images. Joan Crawford adopted 4 children, Christina, Christopher, and twins Kathy and Cindy. To the public, she was the devoted single mother, proof that a woman could balance stardom and family. Photographers capture her reading bedtime stories, hosting birthday parties, playing the role of maternal perfection. But in 1978, 1 year after Crawford's death, Christina published Mommie Dearest, a memoir alleging years of psychological and physical abuse. The book described a household ruled by rage and obsessive control, where Crawford's public image and private reality existed in violent contradiction. Christina and Christopher were disinherited in Crawford's will. Kathy and Cindy disputed their sister's account, as did some of Crawford's friends. The truth remains contested. But what is undeniable is that Crawford curated her maternal image with the same meticulous control she applied to her career. And when that image fractured, it revealed a chasm between Hollywood's manufactured narratives and the messy reality of family. Crawford never hid her children, she displayed them. But she controlled every aspect of how they were seen. The adoption itself was a PR triumph, proof of her generosity. The children were props in the ongoing performance of Joan Crawford, movie star. Christina's memoir became a cultural phenomenon, a bestseller, eventually a cult film. It remains controversial, but forced a reckoning that the women Hollywood elevated as maternal icons could be In private, something else entirely. She gave them her name. But names are not the same as love. Rita Hayworth, the goddess who lost her daughter to the courts. She was the most beautiful woman in the world. The courts called her unfit. In 1949, Rita Hayworth married Prince Ali Khan in a ceremony that captivated the world. Their daughter, Yasmin, was born that same year, but the fairy tale collapsed quickly. The marriage dissolved into separation, legal battles, and a custody war that played out in international headlines. In 1954, during one of the most bitter phases of the custody dispute, Hayworth's two daughters, including Yasmin, were briefly placed in protective custody by New York courts while she was abroad. The proceedings painted her as unstable, unreliable, a mother whose glamorous life made her unfit to raise children. The press amplified the narrative. Hollywood, which had made her a goddess, now stood by as she was publicly dismantled. Hayworth ultimately won custody of Yasmin after securing a Reno divorce in 1953. But the damage was done. The image of Rita Hayworth, screen siren, had been weaponized against Rita Hayworth, mother. Fame, which had once elevated her, now became evidence of her unfitness. How could a woman who danced in Gilda be trusted with the quiet, unglamorous work of parenting? This is not a story of a hidden child. Yasmin was never concealed. But the custody battle reveals how Hollywood's machinery could be turned against even its brightest stars when motherhood became inconvenient to the narrative. Hayworth was not ashamed of her daughter. She fought for her. But the fight exposed her to a cruelty that fame made possible. Years later, as Hayworth's health declined due to Alzheimer's disease, Yasmin became her caregiver. The daughter fought for the mother, who had once fought for her. It was a reversal Hollywood never filmed. The courts took her daughter to protect her. But what they were really protecting was the illusion. These 9 stories, some confirmed, some contested, all shaped by secrecy, reveal a darker architecture beneath Hollywood's golden facade. The studio system was a machine built on perfection. It manufactured glamour, romance, heroism. But it could not tolerate humanity. Morality clauses in contracts gave studios the power to destroy careers over personal conduct. Gossip columnists like Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons wielded reputations like weapons. Catholic America demanded purity, and Hollywood delivered it, not through virtue, but through concealment. Parenthood itself could be a liability. An illegitimate child meant scandal. A custody battle meant tabloid fodder. Even adoption, supposedly virtuous, could be weaponized if it revealed too much about a star's private struggles. So children were hidden, denied, or carefully managed. Birth certificates were sealed. Pregnancies were disguised as vacations or nervous breakdowns. Babies were placed in orphanages only to be adopted by their own mothers 19 months later. The cruelty was systemic, not personal. These stars were not monsters. They were survivors navigating an industry that punished authenticity. To stay in the spotlight, they had to cast parts of themselves into shadow, and sometimes those parts were their own children. What's striking is how many of these secrets unraveled only decades later. Judy Lewis learned the truth about her parents as an adult. Patricia Van Cleve Lake's claim emerged at her death. Christina Crawford's memoir appeared after Joan was gone. Memoirs, biographies, DNA tests, and archives have slowly revealed what publicity machines once buried. The machinery is obsolete now, but its damage persists. These children, born into fame's shadow, carried costs their parents never had to pay publicly. They grew up with absences that cannot be explained, with identities that were lies, with love that had to be negotiated around career considerations. Some, like Judy Lewis, spent their lives untangling the deception. Others, like Carol and Barry, were casualties of legal spectacles. Still others, like Yasmin Aga Khan, fought custody battles that treated motherhood as a liability to be litigated. Hollywood perfected the illusion of family on screen. But off-screen, it often edited family out of existence. Because the system valued image over intimacy. Because stardom demanded silence. Because the spotlight, no matter how bright, could never illuminate the truth. And so these sons and daughters became ghosts, present but unseen, loved but unacknowledged, human but inconvenient. They were the price of perfection. They were the cost of fame. The studio lights could make anyone look flawless, but they could never make them free. And sometimes the greatest price of stardom was silence.